going to give you what you never gave me. A chance.
Crosshair comes face to face with all his brothers once again for the first time since the beginning of the season. We get a deep look into what Crosshair has been thinking and feeling, and boy, there were some shockers. So let's get into it with a review, breakdown, observations, and revelations from this week's episode, part 1 of the finale, Return to Kamino. Right off the bat, the title of this week's episode references back to what Hunter said to Omega in episode 9.
Omega, you don't have to worry. You are never going back to Kamino.
Promise?
I promise.
Which, when we've heard this, instantly made us think, yeah, they're definitely going back to Kamino at some point. When Crosshair uses Hunter's comm device to signal the batch, Hunter says they'll know it's a trap.
They'll still come for you.
This comment is the first of many that gives us a window into what Crosshair is feeling this episode. Back on Ord Mantell, the batch are fixing the ship. Wrecker mentions that he left Gregor with Sid. From this, it looks like Gregor isn't going to be a part of the Bad Batch from here on, but will likely be joining up with Rex sometime soon, leading up to where we see him later in Rebels. As Hunter and Crosshair fly past the cruisers hovering over Kamino, the music playing is the same sequence composed by John Williams in Attack of the Clones, when Obi-Wan is landing his ship on Kamino for the first time. I absolutely loved this touch of nostalgia. Vice Admiral Rampart defers to Crosshair for the plan to capture the rest of the Bad Batch, showing why Crosshair feels he has a place in the Empire. Rampart reveals that although Crosshair is being granted leadership on this mission, in the end Rampart has no problem disposing of Crosshair, just as he appeared to do with the Prime Minister Lama Su. Tech is unsure as to why the Empire wants them to come to Kamino, and I was wondering this too. Perhaps it's because it would be easier to capture the batch in a place like Kamino as opposed to Daro. After all, Gregor did escape from there, twice. Omega leads them to a safe place to dock in the outskirts of Tipoca City, the capital city of Kamino. And I have to comment here that the animation just keeps getting better and better each episode. Omega says that they can take the tube system to reach Nala Se's private research lab.
To the secret lab!
Please remain seated and keep your arms and legs in at all times.
Oh, nice!
According to Omega, although this tube system runs all throughout Kamino, most in Tipoca City don't actually know about Nala Se's secret lab. Personally, this system reminded me of the underwater tubes we saw in the Clone Wars episodes on Mon Cala, Admiral Akbar's home planet. Inside the main cloning facility, troopers are seen carting away boxes, probably full of cloning equipment that Rampart mentions later.
The cloning technology is now firmly under Imperial control.
Hunter notices that the facility is being decommissioned. He makes his first of many appeals to Crosshair, telling him that they'll be phasing out clones next.
Not the ones that matter.
We can see that the Empire is willing to keep anyone around if they serve a purpose, even lower-level clones like this one at the end of the episode, who is in the cruiser commanded by Rampart. In Nala Se's secret lab, Omega tells them that this was where she was first created, and where the Bad Batch's mutations were enhanced.
Experimental Unit 99 began right here. I was there.
Now, I always assumed that Omega was created after the Bad Batch, but this comment said otherwise. She actually confirms that she was there when the Bad Batch was being worked on for a short time before they were sent to be with the other clones. This could explain her connection to the team from the beginning, because she had essentially met them before. Comment your theories on this down below. They discover the medical droid AZ-3, who we saw earlier in the Bad Batch season, and who first appeared in the Fives arc in the Clone Wars series.
Shoot, I am AZ-345211.
AZ?
I thought it was funny that Omega cut him off before he could finish his full number. As we know, this droid is very wordy.
I am AZ-3452118986.
Anyway, the batch follows Hunter's comm device to the training room, leaving Omega behind with AZ as a backup. And of course, Crosshair is waiting for them. The batch is surrounded with no choice but to surrender their weapons. Echo signals Omega for help. Crosshair finally confronts the batch, specifically Hunter, on how he has been feeling this entire time, something we've only been able to guess at until now.
You weren't loyal to me. I was one of you. You may have forgotten, but I haven't. And it's why I'm going to give you what you never gave me. A chance.
He offers Hunter and the rest of the batch a chance to join him. Hunter makes it clear that he still doesn't trust Crosshair, to which Crosshair responds by taking out the TK troopers surrounding the batch with a single shot. Crosshair offers them purpose. He tells them not to make the same mistake twice and become his enemy.
Crosshair. We never were.
This real moment is interrupted by the arrival of the training droids. Omega, who quickly realizes she released a few too many, goes up to help her brothers. At first, Hunter and Crosshair are wrestling each other, but then Crosshair actually starts fighting alongside the batch, and the main Bad Batch theme comes in strong here, which was an amazing touch. I also thought it was fitting that it was the same training droids that tested them at the beginning of the season that brought them to fight alongside one another again. Definitely a full circle moment, and just like we knew Rampart would, he is swift to discard Crosshair now that he no longer has use for him. Tarkin tells Rampart,
"You may fire when ready."
which was a direct callback.
You may fire when ready. You may fire when ready. You may fire when ready.
With all the training droids eliminated, Hunter and the batch surround Crosshair. Hunter says he can help Crosshair by removing his chip. Crosshair then drops the bombshell of the episode, to the shock of the entire batch.
I had my chip removed a long time ago.
Hunter wants to know when it was removed, a question I'm sure everyone, including myself, was wondering. Was Crosshair lying about having his chip removed, with it instead being damaged by his earlier injury? Or was it really removed prior to that, and this is something we'll find out later? Hunter stuns Crosshair, and Omega is once again united with Hunter. As Hunter is looking at Crosshair's injury, Tech warns them that 3 Venators are descending on the city. Wrecker picks up Crosshair, and they begin their escape through the halls, past the abandoned barracks and empty cloning tanks. Seeing this empty Kaminoan facility, accompanied by the haunting theme composed by the Kiner brothers, gave me chills. I saw someone online saying that watching this scene felt like the end to a chapter in their childhood, and I couldn't agree more for those of us like myself who grew up with the prequels. Again, as this show has always done, it is bidding farewell to the final age of the Republic as the Empire ushers in a new, dark era. The Venators open fire on Topoka City, destroying the underwater supports as the city starts to sink into the roiling oceans, and this is where we are left at the end. What an episode! Overall, this was prime Star Wars content, and we loved every second of it. Crosshair's character development was what really got me. From everything we learned about Crosshair this episode, we know that more than anything, Crosshair wants to belong, not just to this new empire, but most of all with his brothers. This realization made me feel so much empathy for Crosshair, understanding him not to be this simple villain, but a complex character with so many emotions and human motivations. However, he does still seem very committed to the Empire, but Rampart turning on Crosshair could be what officially turns him back to his brothers. Personally, I think it is inevitable that Crosshair will become part of the team again for Season 2. But this was everything we noticed in this episode. Let us know if you caught anything else. And if you made it to the end, thank you so much for watching. My wife and I are just a couple of simple Star Wars fans trying to make our way in the universe. If you found value in this video, it would mean the world to us if you liked it and considered subscribing to our channel to see our breakdown of Part 2 of the finale. Until next time, hope to catch you in the next video, and remember, the Force will be with you, always.